Okay.
It's 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. It must be time for Let's Talk. Thank you for joining us tonight. My name is Michelle Pettis, and I am brand new. I am the host of Let's Talk, and tonight we are talking about stress, your mess, and food. I'm so excited that productivity specialist Wendy Ellin is with us. She is the author of two books, the one that I just told you about, and Working from Home. How's that working for you? But we're going to get to Wendy in just a second. I want to do another introduction. You'll see over to my left, that way, the other way. Dr. Colleen Myers, she is our moderator and producer. She's going to keep us rolling tonight. So all throughout the broadcast, if you have any questions, you have any comments, any observations, any insights, anything, please put them in the chat, and Dr. Colleen will make sure that we get that address. So if you're watching in my Facebook group, I am brand new now. Please, I want you to also set it up so that you can follow me on Instagram, and also you can subscribe to the YouTube channel because you can see the broadcast there. If you're watching it on the YouTube channel, join the Facebook group because there's juicy stuff that happens in the group all the time that doesn't always happen on the channel. So we want you to be brand new. We want you to get good information anywhere, any way that you can. But first, before we talk to Wendy, I just want to, for anybody that hasn't joined us before, I want to just introduce myself a little bit more and tell you a little bit more why we have these conversations on Sunday night. So this is Let's Talk. Do these conversations on Sunday night because, believe it or not, if you haven't seen me before, I used to be obese. I used to be morbidly obese. Over the course of my lifetime, I have lost and gained over 700 pounds. And a couple of years ago, I figured out and what I want to be able to do, what I want to be able to do on a regular and consistent basis is answer the question that I always get asked is, what's your secret? What did you do? Well, here's the reality. I didn't do just one thing. I didn't do just one thing to get my mind right, to get some peace with my body, because not just one thing got me out of balance. So there's not just one thing that is getting me back in balance. But I will tell you this, one of the things that helped me more than I can even express is opening up and talking to other people. I'm telling you, every day I was reading other people's success stories, how they did what they did. And what I realized is that, we're all fighting the same demons. And the demons they don't just show up in the food, they show up in everything. That's why we have different conversations with people at different parts of their journey and people that are working in different areas, because food is connected to every area of our life. And part of the battle that I had, and I assume that other people have the same battle, is that we look to food for answers to help us solve these problems that food cannot solve. The only problem that food will ever solve is hunger. And we get it twisted, we get confused, and we start looking for food to have superpowers that it does not have. And as soon as we realize that food doesn't have any superpowers, that's what I did. We get some clarity, and we start making a way to figuring out some truths that will set us free and help us get to a body that we can really love. So I am going to just flip things over to Wendy in just a second. I just want to just reiterate, if you have any questions, let's make this interactive. If you have any sort of questions about managing food, about reaching Wendy, any more information on what she does, what I do, how you can get a body that you love, tonight is the night is to jump in and have that conversation. So the first thing I want to do is I want to say welcome, Wendy. And I want you to do just like a quick introduction, and then we're just going to let the conversation flow.
Awesome. So I have been a productivity consultant for 20 years, and I spent a lot of time in corporate America observing the way people operated. And I was fascinated by how many people were disorganized and lived amongst their chaos. And they didn't know any other way to live. And so that's the way they they performed in their work. And I really believe that however you do anything is how you do everything. And so it spilled out into their life. And when I left corporate America 20 years ago, I knew that I had a gift, and that was I got things done in a way that served me well. And so I literally created a business around teaching people how to operate in their workplace environment. Everything I teach spills out into every aspect of their life, but I focus on the workplace because if you have a full-time job, that's where you spend more of your time than anywhere else. And I have been on this journey of teaching people in corporate America and small business owners and entrepreneurs how to set themselves up for success right out of the gate with foundational systems for every aspect of their life.
So, I want you to unpack something that you said really quickly. And I don't know if anybody else heard it, but I heard it. And you said just a few seconds ago, how you do anything is how you do everything. And you and I have had, conversations around food and what that means and how we manage it. And can you like apply or explain to how some of the principles that you use in the productivity space apply with how we might manage food? Or
well, I can speak about myself personally. I'm more successful in my life if I don't wing it and I have systems that I follow. I'm more successful in my food if I don't wing it and I'm more intentional. So if you're living, hang on, let me think about this a minute. If you're not living consciously, then you're living accidentally, not intentionally, right? So people walk to the refrigerator unconsciously. They don't even know they're walking to the refrigerator. They don't even know they're opening it. They don't even know what they're grabbing, right?
Right.
It's like clutter. People don't put things where they belong, and before you know it, they have clutter. They're not thinking about where they put things. They're just not making a decision about it. Mm-hmm. So when you live your life consciously, you're living intentionally, not accidentally. And it's exactly the same thing. I go to the refrigerator consciously.
Yes.
Not accidentally. And I manage my life and my business and the way I operate in my email inbox, in my paper, in my calendar, all the different areas of my life that keep me moving forward. I have a system for, including food.
So I just want to talk about two things that you just said. And this is what I figured out for my own self. And again, I see myself as a microcosm of the 70% of Americans that are either overweight or obese. And what I realized when I became conscious was when I realized I was eating too much of the wrong things for the wrong reasons, and I was doing it unconsciously.
Totally.
And what the other thing that became clear for me is that when people, and I say this because it's what I did, are looking to change their behaviors around food, the first thing they always attack is the too much and the wrong thing. And that makes it harder. If you work on the awareness, if you work on the reason and the consciousness first, then it makes the amount and the item easier to deal with. It seems like it's counterintuitive, but if we just get aware that we're not eating out of hunger, that we're eating out of some sort of emotional trigger, some story that we told us that food means, then we can stop it. But first we got to recognize it. We got to recognize that we're making this unconscious trip to the refrigerator or to the cabinet, or just walking by and picking up something and putting it in our mouth. Right. And that is one of the secrets. And the other thing is something that I use is what I call intentional substitution. And it's hard sometimes for people to give up something. You got it, it's mine, I want to keep it, I don't want to give it up. You feel like you're going to be deprived. And a way to release it is if you replace it with something else that that replaces it, for lack of a better word, that fits the bill, but it's better for your body. And be conscious about the substitution, so you don't feel like you're giving up. You're just you're just substituting,
Right.
and that has, okay, if you're gonna be an emotional eater, right? If you're gonna be a snacker, and I'm a snacker, all right, now I don't snack on Oreos. Now I snack on grapes, right? So so if you do one thing or another, the too much wrong thing, wrong reasons, or the consciousness, all four of them get us in trouble. But if we pick them off one at a time, then we can stay on the road to getting where we want to go.
Absolutely.
So you said that, and then I kind of got off on a tangent. But so do this. I want you to. I know you have two books out. I know you have the new one out.
Mm-hmm.
Working from home, how's it working for you, and your successes under your mess. So if you can kind of take us through, you can start at the beginning and work backwards, or start at the end and work backwards, to start at the beginning and work forward. Either way that works for you will work for us.
So the first book is called, well, Not Your Success Under Your Mess. The first book is called Enough is Enough, Get Control of Your Stuff.
Well, where did I get successes under your mess from?
That's what my speaking title is.
Okay, got it.
Yep.
Okay.
That's what my webinar is called.
Okay.
So the first one is Enough is Enough, Get Control of Your Stuff. And I wrote that, it's almost 10 years ago now. Really for people to figure out how to deal with their stuff. I have this mentality, Michelle, that I don't like excess in any aspect of my life. I don't like excess fat. I don't like excess food in my refrigerator. I don't like excess clothing in my closet. When I have less excess, I have less choices, and I do better with less choices, right? When you go shopping and you keep buying and buying and buying, I remember it wasn't too long ago that I went into my closet and realized I had bought the same shirt I bought 3 weeks ago. I didn't even remember buying that shirt. Because there's so much in my closet, I can't see what I have. When I cleared out what I didn't wear anymore, all of a sudden the stuff that I wear, that I love, that I didn't even know I had, appeared.
Yeah.
It's like when you get rid of the crap you don't need. And here's the thing. We're collecting our entire life. We are consumers. We're consumed with consuming. So all we do is buy and buy and buy and consume. If we don't get rid of some of the stuff that we've consumed over the 60 or so years we're living, where are we going to put the stuff that we collect for the next 30 years? Right. Like I always say, people can live above their means spatially, just like they can live above their means financially, which means they own more crap than the actual home they live in can hold.
So, let me tell you what came up for me as you're talking about not having excess. I found that once I started eating less, once I started paying attention to what was going in my body, and once I stopped eating too much to support my body and serve my body, I found that I enjoyed food more. Less of it was more meaningful to me than more of it, and primarily because I was eating for the right reasons, right? So the first thing is, like, once I learned to eat for nutrition and nourishment, then I got clear on the purpose of food and was able to enjoy for that. And the reason, it just hit me that I was eating mass quantities of everything that I was eating, looking for it to solve a problem that it couldn't solve.
Right.
So it's not going to taste good when you're looking for it to solve boredom, because it doesn't solve boredom.
Exactly.
It's not entertaining. It's not an activity. It can't do that. It can never taste good enough to solve this problem. And so that's where this excess thing came from me. And and I think the same thing applies to where you were talking about living above your means spatially. That is, because if you have whatever it is that you have, if it's the things that you really love, and you've kind of, I guess, focused in on them, then you can really love them, because you can really see them. You can really enjoy them. They're not obscured by all this other stuff that you just kind of, I don't know.
And it's just so much easier when you have less choice. There's something about walking in your closet, knowing that everything in your closet fits you, knowing that everything in your closet makes you feel good. And then it's just a question of what's the mood I'm in.
Yeah.
Everything in my closet I love.
Yeah.
Love.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
I love it or I need it. Those are the two things. I either love it or I need it. There are some things I need to keep, right? Mm-hmm. But I get up in the morning and I get dressed to go somewhere and I'm like, what am I in the mood for? Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. But I always know that when I look in the mirror or when I put it on, I feel good. Yes. And that for me makes all the difference.
Yes. Yes.
And I think it's to say, Marty, my husband's getting ready to leave tomorrow and I can't wait to clean the refrigerator out. I only want to have what I eat. He's got like leftover potatoes he was going to make into hash browns. There's no way he's going to do that. It's already been 3 days. They're going in the garbage.
Right. So I have this question about being able to figure out the difference between what I need and what I want, and what that process might.
But here's the thing. If you only have what serves you well, then it's just a question of what do you want your taste to be, right? Mm-hmm. So if you don't have any negative options, they're all positive options. Mm-hmm. Just I want to eat green or I want to eat blue, then you go for it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's really, this is where I talk about setting yourself up for success. Mm-hmm. Don't put yourself in a position that there's a bad choice you have to make. Mm-hmm. That's just being smart about it. Mm-hmm. That's working smart, not hard. Mm-hmm. Right?
Wow. Don't run that by again. Don't put yourself in a position
to make the wrong decision, because if there's no bad decisions, then there is no wrong decision.
Right.
Just decide that your refrigerator says the word healthy on it. Mm-hmm. That every other refrigerator out there, it's got some non-healthy. You are the healthy only space to eat from. Mm-hmm. And if you make it only a healthy eating space, then all your options are always healthy. It's just a question of what do you want to eat?
Yeah. So any and we haven't talked about this before, so I'm just kind of throwing it out there. But any thoughts or notions or ideas around someone that is saying, all right, my kitchen is a mess, right? Or my refrigerator is a mess. And I do want to make healthier and smarter choices around food. And I don't even know where to start in this kitchen to get it right so that I'm not vulnerable.
All right. So here's the thing. I'm a space person. I care deeply about the space I'm in. I want to know that when I'm sitting in my office and I'm having this conversation with you, I'm not being distracted by any clutter, any piles, anything. So I create spaces that make me feel good, right? So I even said to Marty not long ago, I don't love our kitchen. I think a couple of things are wrong. I don't like the lighting in our kitchen. It's either really bright overhead light or nothing. I want to put a lamp on the kitchen counter. I said, I don't want 475 appliances on my counter. I want the ones I use every single day. And I want to have the other ones easily accessible, but out of sight. So we literally rearranged the kitchen. Oh, and I said, I want a rug in my kitchen. A rug warms the room up. Mm-hmm. So we got a runner for the kitchen, just like you would have a runner in your hallway. Mm-hmm. We put a lamp on the kitchen counter. And I bought this lovely platter that holds just the fruits and vegetables that we want to grab all the time. And everything else is hidden. And I saw
that lamp. And I do love your kitchen. It is warm.
Now I love my kitchen because my kitchen's kind of an extension of the rest of the house. It's open. Yeah. It's its own separate room. But I wasn't feeling like my kitchen.
I mean, the whole place, Wendy, is really kind of zen. You know, it's got
I care about spaces. Most people don't think about it, but what they also don't realize is whatever space you're living in, you created. You moved into an empty home.
Mm-hmm.
So get your kitchen to a place where you enjoy being in there. It's inviting. My rooms call me into them. I walk around and go, you know what? I'm going to go sit in the den today and read my book. I want to be in that space. And then I'll go in the guest bedroom because I love the bed in that room. And then I'll be in my office, which I live in because I'm in it all the time. But I love my spaces in my house, but I created them. It's so important, people. Your house is not there to create jobs. It's there to create joy. I don't walk in my home and see a bunch of jobs I have to do.
Right.
I walk in my house and sit on my sofa and rub my dog's underbelly. Our home should be for joy, not jobs.
Right. Oh, I love that.
And that spills into make your refrigerator an enjoyable place, an enjoyable door to open. Don't open that door with fear that you're either going to grab the wrong thing or you're not going to like the way it smells. I'm constantly saying to Marty, what the hell smells in here? You know, if something's left for a couple of days, it's like, that's the worst feeling. You're starving and you go in the refrigerator and you want something healthy and you can't even open the door.
Right.
But you know, your refrigerator deserves the attention that every other room in your house deserves. It's a space that feeds you.
Yeah. Oh man, I love that. Open the refrigerator to joy, but let's open it consciously. Let's open it consciously.
Right.
But I also want you to talk about the newest book too.
Newest book is Working from Home. How's that working for you?
And give us your website too. Your website and how to reach you.
Wendy at wendyellin.com or everything wendyellin.com. And it's Ellin is the last name. I wrote the book, Michelle, because on March 16th of last year, I was sitting in my office looking out the window I'm looking at right now. And I see Marty backing up in his convertible with a bunch of shit out the back, sitting in the back seat. And I said, what are you doing? And he looked at me kind of funny, went, what do you think I'm doing? I said, oh no. He said, Wendy, I'm moving home like the rest of the world is. It's March 16th. There's a pandemic. I'm now working out of the house. And I thought, oh my God, the whole world must be freaking out. Can you imagine all those people that are so disorganized that get to leave their disorganized mess every day and go to work are now working amongst the clutter and the chaos? I've got to write a book immediately before someone else does. So I literally left. I went to a girlfriend's Airbnb about 45 minutes south of Atlanta where I live. And I said, Jen, I need to borrow your B&B for the week. She said, no one's in it. Take it. I did. I wrote a book, got it to #1 bestseller. And now, the world's gotten attention because right now, a year ago, there were two things people were talking about: working from home and politics. Now we can scratch politics a little bit off our list. Now people were talking about working from home and hybridly working from home.
Yes.
Right? No one's going back to work full time. So I look at this toolbox that I teach as a benefit to offer your employees to make sure that every single person that works for you has what they need to do the best they can from wherever they live. Because we got no control and everybody's situation is unique. You know that.
Yes. And you know what, Wendy, here's the thing that I kind of get with the working from home, work overall, COVID and food. And when we went into the pandemic, there was so much swirling around. Oh my gosh, we're in the pandemic. I'm working from home. I'm just going back and forth to the refrigerator. I'm gaining weight and it's out of control. I'm worried. I don't know, I don't know what to do, right? And before the pandemic, what I would hear people say is, I'm in the office all day and I gain work at the office because people are always bringing in food. The vending machine is there. I'm eating at my desk and I'm working 12 hours a day. I don't have time to work out. I'm gaining weight. And now we're going into this hybrid situation. And what is really clear to me is that it's really not about the work. It's not the work isn't the issue. And there's something that I heard you say in in the speeches that you do about who wants to gain weight, or who wants to lose weight.
Oh, I say there's a difference between wanting to lose weight and choosing to lose weight.
Yes.
It's like one of my rules for engagement when I work with people is it's number 2 it's number 2 in my 5 rules for engagement. And number 2 is no more excuses. We can make excuses all day long for why we gained weight. We can make excuses. There are a million out there. You got to decide that no matter what it is, I had a horrible childhood, whatever it is, you're not going to use it as the reason to do something that doesn't serve you well. You're making a decision. Look, I might have had a horrible childhood. I'm 65 years old. That childhood is long since gone. I am an adult for many, many years. No one is responsible for me in this part of my life but me.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so I decide that I'm going to make choices that support me and serve me well. Do I always? No. But do I 80% of the time make choices that support me well in every aspect of my life? Yes. Why? I like the way it feels.
Yes.
I like the way it feels. Every single thing we do, Michelle, boils down to one thing and one thing only. How does it make you feel? Everything.
Yeah.
We lose weight because of the way it makes us feel. We switch jobs because of the way it makes us feel. We leave partners because of the way it makes us feel.
Yeah.
We're striving for a different feeling.
Yes.
I like the feeling of joy. What does that look like to me? Eating healthy, feeling comfortable in my skin, having my clothes fit. I mean, that's me. Doesn't mean it's everybody. Yeah. But when I stand in front of a crowd and I say, raise your hand for the show of hands, how many of you want to lose weight? Everybody raises their hand. Now, when I say, okay, now tell me how many of you are going to choose to lose weight, that's always a different number. The choosers take action. You can want to lose weight till the day you die.
Right.
The choosers, it's attached to action.
Yes. I will, as you say that, I'm getting chills a little bit, because I want to go back to this feeling, right? And
I knew what it was. You said you love the phrase that I had my tagline, which is the changes in the choosing.
Yes, the changes in the choosing. Yes. I've used that a couple of times, but I gave you credit. But I want to go back to this thing that you talked about the feeling. I want to go back to the feeling, and I want to go back to joy. And I always use myself as an example, because I feel like I'm a microcosm of this whole yo-yo dieting, mismanaging food thing. And sometimes you get so used to things being a certain way that you get numb to your situation. And I can imagine that it's like that in clutter too. That until you get a notion or get an idea or get an experience that it doesn't have to feel a certain way, that what you feel is not joy. And sometimes you don't even know it, because you haven't experienced joy in so long, you don't even recognize that what you're feeling can be better. You just think that this is how it is, and you are living a certain way. You think that this is just how it must be, and you don't realize that if you can just make one change, it can get you closer to something different. And just know that whatever it is, even if you can't see it right now, even if it's not clear right now, it's better than where you are right now.
Yes, but here's the thing. Innately, people don't make a change until the pain is great enough.
Yeah.
You got to be in enough pain, particularly if you're going to pay for something. Like I always say, I'm coaching clients in growing a business, and the first thing I say to them is, what does the world need right now that you have to offer? Think about that. What does the world need right now that you have to offer? Because no one's going to pay you unless they're in pain enough for your solution.
Yeah.
There are a million disorganized people out there, but not all of them are in pain enough about the way they're living that they want help, right? And there are a ton of overweight people there, obese people in the world, unhealthy human beings. They're just not in enough pain, and that's okay. That's their life.
But you know what the struggle that I have, all right, is being in a place where you might even be past the pain, where you're just numb, you know. And what I figured out, and what I figured out on this journey now that I'm on the other side, is that I see that I have more power in my life. I have 6 things. I have more power. I have more pride. I have more peace. I have more confidence. I have more freedom. I have more joy. I have more of those 6 things. I've experienced more of those 6 things in the past 2 years since I lost the 60 pounds than I ever experienced in 60 years. But I didn't realize it. I didn't realize what I was missing, you know. And it wasn't until I lost the weight that what I thought I wanted to do was lose weight. But I mean, it's like the hammer, the nail in the hole in the wall thing. You think you want a hammer, but what you really want is the hole. So it's like that. It's like I started off wanting to lose the weight, which is valid and right and true and healthy and all of that. But what I didn't realize is what I really, really wanted was what the losing of the weight would give me.
It's always that.
Pride, the peace, the power, the confidence, the joy, and the freedom.
What's the byproduct?
Right, the byproduct. And those were things that I didn't even realize I was missing them because either I hadn't had them in so long I forgot.
I mean, like the byproduct when you get rid of your clutter is that you can navigate your life with ease. Yes. Right?
Yes.
You're not spending time looking for things every 20 minutes. And that time up over time, that's a lot of minutes looking for shit.
Yes.
Why?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
It just doesn't make sense. But I think people, when you say they're numb to it, the people that are numb to it are the ones that probably could use some help, you know, in a positive way, right? Mm-hmm. To sort of reel them back in. If they're numb to it, they're really unconscious. Mm-hmm. Like they are not tapped in. And, you know, listen, as I get older, I see so much in the value of not taxing our bodies and not taxing our organs by carrying so much weight. Mm-hmm. You know, it's really, that's what plays a part in me way more than what you look like.
Yeah.
You know, it's really about, it's never been, for me, it's been about how I feel in my skin and honoring my body so that it takes me another 25, 30 years.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Like I sometimes look at my legs and go, thank you. Thank you. Mm-hmm. You got me 65 years? That's a lot.
Yes.
I mean, really, Marty said to me the other day, I think I really got it. I think I know why I need to go to the gym every day. And I said, why? God knows I've been asking to go for the last 25 years. He said, I don't want to be like my mother, who's 97 in a wheelchair, no quality of life.
Yeah.
He said, I don't want to be like her, and I have her genes.
Yeah.
And he said, that gets me to the gym every day. I said, thank you. Then that's the silver lining for this woman still being alive.
Yes, yes. And you know what? I think that as we're talking about this, is something else that came clear to me as I'm studying food and hunger and emotions and the connectivity and what it all means and the meaning is that I think that for so long and what people do now is they treat food as the end. And what food and eating actually is a means to an end.
Yes.
And once we get focused on, I'm eating this particular thing because I want to feel a certain way, I want to look a certain way, I want to have a certain kind of health, I want to move through this world in a certain kind of way, then our choices are different.
Totally.
once we make the decision that, our food shouldn't hurt us. Thank you, Lisa, from the group for that, right? And you start thinking about, I think about growing up, how many, because I grew up with old people, my grandparents and all them. I would hear people say all the time, oh, I don't eat that. It doesn't agree with me. It doesn't agree with me. It's one little statement. And if we could just apply that, not necessarily to the stuff that I'm allergic to or that causes intolerance, is that lactose intolerance or anything like that. But if we say that about those things that create excess on our body, oh, I'm not going to have that extra piece of whatever, or I'm not going to have the extra serving, or I'm not going to have that because it doesn't agree with me. It's not in agreement with how I want to look, how I want to feel, how I want my body to last.
Yep.
It's not in agreement. We got to decide on that.
And I'm one of those people that eats to live. I don't live to eat. Yeah. And that's a mentality shift that people who want to get healthy need to shift that. Mm-hmm. To you're eating to live. You're not living to eat. Yeah. You can still enjoy your food. It doesn't mean I don't enjoy my food.
Right.
But food is not the reward for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Food's not a reward for me.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing. The secret for anybody that has asked me, for anybody that wants to know, that is the secret. The secret is changing the meaning of food in your life. Change what food means to you. As soon as you can change what it means to you, you can change how you manage it. And we change how you manage it, then you won't deal with excess. It becomes easy. It becomes easy because the food is just nutrition and nourishment. It's just nutrition and nourishment. It's not reward. It's not joy. It's not comfort. It's not entertainment, right? It's not companionship. It's not your friend. It's not your buddy. It's not status. It's not
just nourishment.
It's just
That's
nourishment.
What it is. It's to keep this thing moving.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all it is to keep this thing moving and thriving.
Yeah.
So much of it I wish we all learned when we were younger. We didn't talk about this when we were younger. It was never discussed. And my mother was incredibly judgmental, and everybody she judged by how much they weighed. I'd call her and go, Hi, Mom, how are you? I'm good. How are you? I'm good. How's Mrs. Lansteen? Oh, my God, she gained 20 pounds. Well, who the fuck? Right. Oh, my God. That was that generation.
Right. Right.
And
right.
Look, what I got to tell you, Michelle, when I see a heavier woman out in the world strutting her stuff, God bless, I love her.
Yeah.
I love that she's not keeping her body or her weight or her frame from dressing to the nines, feeling great about herself and getting out there and showing the world. I love it.
Yes. Yes.
I don't feel comfortable in my skin when there's excess, but I totally respect those that do.
Well, you know what? Here's the thing: is that we have to start someplace, right?
Right.
And part of it is that as we go back to what food means in many cultures, and I don't know if you and I talked about this before. In many cultures, if you go to someone's house and you eat everything on your plate, you eat or you clean your plate, they are insulted. They are insulted because it's about the food and not about the company, not about the experience of what they're providing.
Right.
And in other cultures, if you go someplace and you don't ask for a second helping or a third helping, then people are offended. What, something wrong with the food? You didn't like it? It's a completely different mindset not to complain the plate because something, a meaning has been placed on what this food is, on what the food is. And so I think that we're in a situation, or as I grew up in a situation like so many, where food is just is a language of love. Food is a language.
Not in my family.
Love and appreciation. Look what I made for you. Look what somebody brought over. Come on in, let me feed you. That was how we expressed it. And so to say, oh, Miss So and So, I don't want that. I'm not eating that, or I don't, I'm not going to have any of that. You don't want to risk hurting their feelings, right? We have to come up with language and say, I love you. I know you made that for me. I appreciate it. But, I got to take care of my waistline, right? But go ahead.
There is no love wrapped around zapping a box of Mrs. Paul's fish sticks. I promise you. That's the shit I grew up on. Seriously. Ragu in a bottle. That's what I got. I love the fact I used to love going to my friends' houses where food was such a pleasure. And it was such an important role, an important part of sitting down with the family. My parents never ate dinner with us. We had 5 kids. She fed them. They fed us first, and then they went and had themselves a nice, quiet dinner every night.
Oh my!
Oh yeah, I was taking a bath when they were eating dinner.
Wow!
So we had a very different experience. Really different.
Yeah.
Marty and I raised kids that he wanted to sit down around the table and talk every night. That was really weird for me.
How long did it take you to adjust to that?
A long time, which is another reason why I never liked food, because we didn't dine in my house. We ate, we were done, we cleaned up, we were moving on, so my mother and father could have their nice, quiet dinner.
Wow.
No socializing around the dinner.
Right. And so, that really speaks to, the work around what food means, the memories of food, and how we miss the connection. How we miss the connection.
No connection at all, which is why Marty's always getting on me, because I never want to dine. I want to get in and get out and move on.
Right. It's not about the experience. See, I can hang with Marty. I can hang with Marty, because with me, it's about the experience of it. And I cannot, but I had to figure it out, because I cannot tell you how many times I said, oh my goodness, let's go someplace fun to eat. For years I was overweight and obese, because for me, the eating and the food and the experience, it was all about the fun. It wasn't about the nutrition or the nourishment. It was, I would rather go someplace that I thought had a beautiful atmosphere, that had beautiful service, that had a nice ambience, and that the food was just so. I'd rather have a fabulous experience around the food than the best food in the world.
Right.
So but we just have to start unpacking it and see because all these let's go out to dinner, let's have lunch, and you want to bond, you want to be with your friends, you want to do that, but you start doing too much of it or making wrong choices. It's not saying that, like you said, we don't enjoy it, but we just have to be really aware and really conscious that it is about the experience. It is about the experience of the people. That's who we have the relationship with. We have a relationship with people, not with food.
I find the joy in making the right experience, not in eating the wrong food. I don't find the joy in the chocolate dessert. Mm-hmm. I find the joy in choosing to have a cappuccino instead.
Yeah.
I find the joy in making the right decision for me.
Yes. The joy is in making the right decision, not in the food. So I want to tell you like a quick story about the experience. So a lot of my weight gain came around alcohol. Going to happy hour, going out, on the weekend for brunch, unlimited mimosa, all of that. And once I got really conscious about changing the way that I manage alcohol, here's what I did. And here's how I realized it was about the experience and not about the alcohol. I went to a bar, and I told the bartender I'd like a virgin martini. And the bartender looks at me and he says, "A virgin martini? Well, what's that? Because martinis are all alcohol." And I said, "Okay, here, let me tell you what to do. I want you to get some club soda. I want you to get a splash of pineapple juice, a special cranberry juice. I want you to get that little silver shaker, put all of it in that little silver shaker, shake it up, and put it in one of those fancy martini glasses. That's how you make that. And what became really clear to me is it wasn't about the alcohol. I wanted the shaker. I wanted the little seed thing, the strainer. I wanted the glass. That's what I wanted.
The presentation.
I'm sorry. The presentation. It was all about the presentation. And man, I haven't had a martini. I haven't had a real martini probably in 2 or 3 years. Because that's all I want. I want the little shaker. I want the glass.
I will have, I don't drink any at all anyway. I will have a club soda with lime. And if I want to feel like it's special, I'll put it in a glass that I don't usually drink out of, because it's a wine glass or a cocktail glass.
Right.
And just having it out of that glass makes it special for me.
Right.
It's the presentation.
The presentation, yeah. But until we start looking at our own habits, right? Until we start, peeling them back, we don't know. We don't know what it is. It's just a habit. It's just something that we're doing unconsciously. And until we start looking at doing things differently, we don't know we can do them differently. Right. And we have been talking about food and doing things differently. And I want to get back to you and productivity in your space, because you talked about your 5 rules. Your 5 principles? My
5 rules for engagement. You want to know what they are?
And so you did. I think number 3, but if you could do all 5 of them
I did number 2. Number 1 is show up every time for you and for everyone else. Just show up. If you're gonna take something on, like change a habit, you got to show up.
Yeah,
that's number 1. Number 2, no more excuses. Number 3, I'll say them out of order because I can't think of number 3, but it'll come to me. Okay. Number 4 is authentically you. Just give us your true self. Vulnerable, honest, raw self. I don't, you're going to come work with me. I want the true, unadulterated, not fluffed up version.
Not your representative.
Absolutely. Let me just think about this a minute. Number 1 is show up every time, no excuses. I can't think what the third one is. And the last one is, which is my favorite one, is everything. There's a category in life that so many things that we deal with fall into. And I beg everyone in the world to keep this category front and center. And it's called, it is what it is. There's a whole ton of stuff that just falls into that category. Like I have clients that will say to me, but what about my commute in the morning? And I'll say, well, how long is your commute? And they'll tell me it's an hour each way. And I say to you, look, you either quit your job or you move your house. It's your commute. You made that choice. If you like this job, then drive an hour every day. Then I have another client who says to me, but what do? I have 2 kids. Are you going to kill them or sell them? They're your kids. That falls into the category of it is what it is. Guess what dogs do? They bark when the doorbell rings. It is what it is.
And so is that like just deal with it?
Be realistic about what you have to work around. Right? That's what it means. Yes, the smart assy comment is deal with it. But the not so snarky comment is, when we get realistic about what we got going on and we put it where it needs to live and work around it, then it doesn't get in our way. You don't let your kids get in your way. They're your kids. They're breathing, living things that have lives and challenges just like you do. You think they like working out of the house, going to school any more than you like them being there? No. They don't. Right? So it really helps.
When we do another show called Stress, Family, and Food.
Yes. Let me just think about this one real quickly because I know we don't have much time. So it's what's the first one I said was? The first one is show up every time. Show up. Second one is no more excuses. Third one is the one I can't remember. Fourth one is authentic, just be you. And the 5th one, it is what it is. I can't think of what it is, but it'll come to me.
Okay. But you know what? I want to go to, while we have a few minutes, I want to go to show up. All right. And the reason I want to go to show up, because in my program, in my coaching program is brand new. And the B, we go through all the letters in brand new. And the B is begin and believe. And when I hear show up, I feel like that there is so much alignment between begin and believe and show up, because you got to be in the room, right? You gotta be in the room, and you gotta be ready to start, and you have to be present. You
Absolutely.
have to be present, and because none of and in that present, in that being present, in that showing up, in that beginning, in that believing, is the other thing that we talked about, is consciousness, right? and and we're so I think we're so many times we're just so used to being on rote on remote. Like,
Mhm.
give me the menu, and let me follow this. Let me do this thing I don't have to think about every day. Let me just put it on autopilot, and I can get there, right? And you know, it doesn't work like that. We have to be engaged. We have to be engaged in ourselves. We have
Yep.
to be engaged in our own transformation,
Yep.
right? The way that we got to where we are, the way that I got to where I was, and I think it applies to everybody else, is because I wasn't engaged. You know,
Right.
you think you are until you get conscious about it.
You're not consciously living your life. I just thought of number 3. You ready?
Yes.
Keep making choices.
Ah.
Keep making choices. It's when you're stuck and you don't make a choice that you don't move forward. Make a choice. It might be the wrong one. Just
Mm-hmm.
keep making choices. You'll know if it's the wrong one, then you'll make another one.
And
Keep
that goes to what you say that I like so much. The
the
change,
changes in the
in the
choosing.
choosing. So remember that, in case remember that, so you don't get stuck again. The
Right.
changes in the choosing. You don't have to remember.
I
But
should know these off the top of my head. I only talk about them all the time. But
but go ahead.
no, yeah, it's when you're not living your life consciously, you're living accidentally, not intentionally. And that's it's just an awareness.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it is. Marty's going to walk in the door right now, and Ruby's going to bark.
But you know that the changes in the choosing and that consciousness is kind of, again, I bring everything back around to food and eating, because that's the space that I'm in. But the other night, my sweetie and I were in bed. I won't get into a bunch of detail, but I will say that we were in bed, we were watching television, and we were just, sitting there watching, and he had some snacks on his side, and he pulled out the snacks and he started eating the snacks while we were watching television. And I looked at them. It was not anything that I ate, but I thought to myself, in the old days, before I was brand new, when he pulled out the snacks and started eating whatever, I think it might have been potato chips. I'm not even sure what it was. I would have just automatically and
Reach over.
unconsciously just reached over and gotten some, just gotten some. And as I was sitting there, I'm thinking about what is that about? Because it wasn't hunger. Hunger wasn't the thing that was guiding my reach.
Right.
Because if it was hunger, then I would have gotten up and gotten something to eat. So I'm laying there, not even thinking about food, until he pulls out the bag and starts snacking. And I thought to myself, that's jealousy. That is what I coined as jealous eating, because I I figured out for myself that my food choices before I was brand new were all around entertainment and pleasure. What tastes good? What
Mhm.
what is going to set it? What is going to taste good to me? Give me that good feeling right now. What's going to give me the good feeling right now? And him sitting there while we're watching television, enjoying his bag of whatever it is that he was enjoying, I wasn't privy to that. So if I'm sitting in this space and looking at it from a position of lack and deprivation, I'm thinking he's having access to some joy and pleasure that I don't have in this moment.
Right.
And therefore, I'm getting some. I'm getting some of that because I'm jealous.
Right.
And we don't think so much about, but all that stuff happens in our head, in our emotions, in our system, in just in moments, in seconds. He's experiencing some pleasure that I'm not having. He's tasting something good that I'm not tasting. Why is he?
But you're feeling the joy for not making that decision. That's the
exactly. For
Yep.
being aware, to being conscious and understanding that first of all, I wasn't hungry.
Right.
First of all, I was hungry. And not only that, I'm not even sure what he was eating was food. Now that's a whole nother conversation. I'm not even sure it was real food.
I like the outcome of the decisions I make. I make the decisions based on the outcome.
Right.
I don't need to have that piece of cheesecake that Marty's eating because I don't want to feel bad physically. I don't want to have that sugar churning around in my stomach. I don't want to have the sugar rush at 10 o'clock at night like he's going to get. I don't want what that gives me.
Yes.
I'd rather have the decision to not have it and what that gives me.
Yes.
Which is joy.
Yes. And you know what that's about? I see that is changing what you love. I was in another group, and somebody made a comment that said, I'm having a problem managing my weight, and I'm having a problem sticking on this diet because I love going out with my friends on the weekend. That's why I'm having a problem sticking to this diet, because I love going out with my friends on the weekend. And my answer to that is change what you love.
Yes, totally.
Change what you love. And once we just change what we love, then we don't have to use willpower. Then we don't have to use self-control. Then we don't have to use self-discipline. Then it's not hard. But then we don't even have desire for it, because we're changing what you said, the outcome that we want. We're making our decisions based on outcome. I
always make my decisions based on outcome. I always have conversations based on what I want the outcome to be. I don't work with anybody that I don't say, what do you want this to look like 6 months from now? Right? It's always, what do you want the outcome to be?
And that's beginning with the end in mind. That's beginning with the end in mind. Yes.
Exactly.
Yes. So we still have a few more minutes, and I do want to invite anybody that is watching us. If you're watching us on in my Facebook group, I Am Brand New Now. If you're watching us on YouTube, on any social media network, social media outlets, please just drop it in the chat if you have any questions, any comments. We got a few minutes. You can get some real truth talking from me. You can get some real truth talking from Wendy. We're happy that you joined us for this conversation, and we want to keep it going. We want to keep it going. I want you to be able to, if you're having some challenges in your spaces at home, working from home, what you feel like, if you feel like your productivity is being impacted and you're not as productive as you would like to be, and you want to reach out to Wendy, I want you to be able to do that. You can get her at wendyellin.com. She is available for speaking engagements. She is available for are you still coaching? You don't do coaching now, do you, or no?
I'm still doing some coaching, and I just got my back on the stage. I'm going to Dallas in 3 weeks. I'm so excited.
Yeah. Okay.
So as the stages open up, I'll be doing it.
When are you going to be in Dallas? Because I'm in Dallas right now. I'm going to be here until the 9th. Will you be here on the 9th?
Oh no, the following week I go.
I'll miss you. And so she does have 2 books that are available if you're looking for just an elaboration of some of the conversation tonight. So you certainly we want you to have access to Wendy. If you're looking for more information around managing food, right? And I am not going to say changing your relationship with food. I'm not going to say it. I never say it. I used to say it before I got conscious, because we have relationships with people. We have relationships with people. We have relationships with ourselves. But we manage food, right? Food is an inanimate object. We have relationships with living, breathing beings, and by managing food, we keep it in its proper place. We keep it in its proper place, and we don't attach an emotion to it. That's how we end up attaching unnecessary emotions to food, because we're treating it like we can have a relationship with it, which we cannot. So we attach the emotion to ourselves, to the people in our life, to our real relationships, where we can give and they can give back to us. That's how you know it's a relationship. You can give, you can get it back, right? So that's what that's all about. So if you want more information around managing food, making healthier choices, making smarter choices, unpacking what food means to you, please reach out to me. You can reach out to me at I am brand new now at gmail.com. You can join the Facebook group. You can find me on YouTube, find me on Instagram, and here's your opportunity. We're right now at 1 o'clock. Wendy, if you have any parting words, I certainly want you to have them, and then we're going to get out of here.
So delighted that you're doing this work. So proud of you for doing this work. Honestly, that all these years later, we're together.
Yeah, yeah.
It's good stuff, girl.
Ah, yes, indeed. Thank you.
My
Thank you
pleasure. Thank
for
you.
showing up. And there's more alignment in synergy and in our space. It's because it's all about the space, right? It's the
Yep.
space. It's the space that we make in our life for joy, whether it's around food or our environment. So it is so all connected. So with that, thank you for joining. Thank you for being on the conversation, Wendy. Thank you for joining us on Facebook or on YouTube or wherever you join us. And next Sunday night, we'll see you at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Be brand new now.